Mathematicians are used to dealing with limits, but industrial vehicle manufacturer JCB wanted to push the limits to the extreme. They wanted to take their classic digger and turn it into the world's fastest diesel car. It was a seemingly impossible assignment, but a dedicated team of men and women, including engineering consultants from Ricardo, achieved astonishing success. This is the story of how maths made it happen.
My involvement in Dieselmax began when my boss called me in and said that we've got an interesting project opportunity here, and he described the fact that it was JCB looking to take the diesel land speed record, and I honestly thought it was a wind-up when he first told me about it, but you know, he was deadly serious, and we had 2 weeks starting that day to do the very first level feasibility study, which was to answer some key questions. How much power would it take to go 350 miles an hour? How many engines would it take to achieve that? And what were the critical vehicle constraints, vehicle mass, vehicle drag coefficient, frontal area, and so on. For me, the maths I learnt at school, and the more and more I've got into engineering, all of a sudden I've found how that's absolutely critical for a lot of what we do day to day. I enjoy the fact that it's always another challenge. Every project we have is different, and the challenge is just get it moving on and on. We have to continually develop new solutions, new technologies to achieve these requirements.
Who better to drive the car than Wing Commander Andy Green? Not only is he an RAF fighter pilot, but having broken the sound barrier driving the car Thrust SSC, he is the fastest man on Earth.
Thrust SSC and JCB Dieselmax challenging and exciting in very different ways. Thrust SSC solving the problem of what is the ultimate land speed record, trying to go supersonic. JCB Dieselmax is an entirely different challenge. We took 2 digger engines, put them in a car, and created the world's first 350 mile an hour diesel car. One of the big perception problems about not just mathematics but the whole science, technology, engineering side is that it's very much a boys' preserve. It's all about cars and aeroplanes and science and spanners and it's boy stuff, and it's really not. The majority of the people out there, the majority of the people you see working on it are because that's what society expects. But they really shouldn't. Extreme examples of being fundamental to the whole of the team in Thrust SSC. The run controller, the person to whom everybody else on the desert spoke. 30-odd people out there, 4 different radio frequencies, me being one of those speaking elements. We're all talking to one person who's controlling 200 square miles of desert, plus the airspace over it with our spotter aircraft. And she is actually using the science of airspace and ground space management to make all of that work. Fundamental to doing it safely and having people in the right place at the right time. Jump forward 8 years to JCB Dieselmax. A young girl in her 20s, graduate, motorsport experienced. She programmed and looked after all of the systems in the car, including the 2 flat screen displays I had in the cockpit. When we had an engine problem and couldn't get both engines to work together, we identified a different way of doing it. I needed more information in the cockpit. She brought out a laptop, typed into it for 10 minutes, and some new displays appeared that I used directly to get the engines on boost. She was pivotal to that. We could not have done it without her. I cannot understand when a 12-year-old schoolgirl looks at people like that. They couldn't see that engineering and science and maths aren't interested, or there isn't a place for them, because there really is.